I think the best way to start this video will be to remind everybody that at the end of the day, the only people who actually have the power to hold anybody on this platform accountable is you all. If somebody on this platform commits fraud and you all, as the consumers, do nothing, you don't hold them accountable, then they're going to keep committing that fraud. But if you take action and you actually put a stop to that, and you hold them accountable, that's going to be the only thing that is actually going to stop people from doing things that are illegal or fraudulent. So with that said, throughout this entire video, I am going to have a link to the official portal provided by the Federal Trade Commission in the description, where you can file a report for illegal or fraudulent activity. If at any point you believe that I am engaging in any kind of practice from marketing or otherwise that you think is fraudulent, I encourage you to report me to the FTC. But I also would ask you to hold everyone else on this platform equally accountable. If you can do that, hopefully things will get better. And if you don't, things are only going to progressively get worse. So with all that out of the way, I want to talk about what this video is really about and what is becoming a serious issue on this platform, which is paid marketing campaigns. Specifically, not all paid marketing campaigns, but paid marketing campaigns that are not being disclosed. So a content creator that is taking money from a company and covering a product after either being offered money, accepting the money, in some cases already engaged in a contract with that company, doing work, creating the advertisements, yet at the same time covering the product, covering the game, and not informing their fans that they are actually being paid off. And during this video, there's going to be two aspects to this. There's the moral aspect, and there's the legal aspect. There are some things that I'm going to talk about in this video that I firmly believe are illegal. But ultimately, the reason I can't say whether it's illegal or not is because the Federal Trade Commission is the one that actually makes that decision, whether something is legal or not. And in order to make that decision, you have to file reports, they have to open a case, they have to do an investigation. But there are going to be a number of things, because I know the Federal Trade Commission guidelines. I study the Federal Trade Commission guidelines. There are many things that I believe, if the Federal Trade Commission were to launch an investigation, they would find that these practices are in fact illegal. Now, the other aspect of this is the moral aspect. There are going to be a number of things that are illegal, and there's going to be a number of things that might be illegal, and there's going to be a number of things that maybe you could get away with. But as a content creator where your entire identity revolves around honesty and transparency, are you really going to try and play that card where you're going to do something that I would consider immoral, even if you were able to skirt around the FTC guidelines through some kind of loophole? Now, one of the reasons I wanted to make this video now is because there is a particular campaign that has already been launched that I think is an excellent example of the problem that this situation is creating. I don't know how many of you guys are following Delta Force, but Delta Force is this massive game being developed, at least in part, owned by Tencent, and Delta Force has been giving paid contracts to content creators. Now, I want to make sure that I clarify this completely. Paid contracts are not categorically bad or illegal as long as you are doing all of the necessary disclosures and you're making it clear to your audience and everybody else who is watching you that you are accepting a bias in the form of monetary compensation, whether you think you are biased or not, because I see a lot of content creators say stuff like this. Well, I was going to say the same thing anyways. That's not for you to decide, my man. You have accepted money. Whether or not you believe that money is creating a bias is irrelevant. You need to ensure that you are maintaining a high level of transparency, because when you're being paid that money, it is going to implicitly bias you towards that product. And we're going to go into so many examples of me watching this happen in real time. Now, the Delta Force campaign is the latest campaign in a whole string of campaigns that I have been watching other content creators engage with. And these campaigns are managed by agencies, they're managed by companies, and the reason that I am aware of what is currently going on with Delta Force is because I've watched these exact same agencies use these exact same strategies from multiple previous campaigns. And in some cases, even though these are different studios, the agencies that are actually managing the advertisement campaign, even for all of these different games, are the same agencies. So we're going to get into Delta Force probably near the end of the video, but what I would like to talk about first are the previous campaigns that have made me aware of what is actually happening. And one of the worst offenders that I've seen recently, although we're going to go into more examples, was the advertisement campaign for Arena Breakout Infinite, which was the PC adaptation of the mobile game that is very similar to Escape from Tarkov, and Arena Breakout is a direct competitor to Escape from Tarkov. Now, the reason that I am aware of these campaigns is because I myself am a content creator with over 1 million subscribers. Luckily, I'm very happy about that. And I also used to run a influencer management company where I would see these deals come in all at the exact same time from multiple accounts for all of the different creators that we managed. So throughout this entire video, just understand that that is the perspective that I'm coming at this entire situation from. This isn't just some rousing suspicion or something of that nature. I myself have seen these contracts. I have seen these offers. I understand how these campaigns are organized. I understand how the outreach and how the signing process works. I understand all of the logistics behind these campaigns. And in many cases, I managed multiple other influencers that also worked together on these campaigns as a team. Now, with that said, something that really frustrates me, that really annoys me, is I have the unique perspective as a content creator that is in this bracket. I have the privilege of being able to see these contracts come in, but what I often see, which no one else even could be aware of, is whenever paid offers come in from these studios, a large number of content creators that also receive those paid offers at the same time as everyone else, when I log into Twitter the next day, I guess it's called X now, when I log into YouTube, suddenly, out of nowhere, even though in some cases they've never covered this game before, after these paid offers go out, suddenly all of these content creators, even though in many cases they've never covered this game before, are suddenly making content about this game. But none of that coverage that they are suddenly posting has any disclosure that maybe the reason they are now posting this coverage is because they've been offered a paid promotion from the company making the game. And Arena Breakout Infinite is kind of an even more perfect case for this example, because around the same time, there was this massive controversy around their direct competitor, Escape from Tarkov. Now, do not get me wrong, I am not a fan of Escape from Tarkov or the things that they've done, but the fact that a lot of these things happened at the exact same time when it would have been extremely profitable for Arena Breakout to have biased coverage that was leaning towards them, this specific point in time would have been extremely strategic for them, and we're going to go into detail more about that aspect of this a little bit later. But before I get too ahead of myself, I want to start with the beginning phases of when our team first saw signs that Arena Breakout was kicking off their paid advertising campaigns without anybody other than the content creators who were getting the offers knowing about it. Now, in this video, I'm going to show a number of examples that are going to show content creators who are engaging in these campaigns. There's really no way around this. But I am very aware that a lot of these content creators are not happy with the fact that I am disclosing these things, even though I would say a lot of these things are actually public information. And the things that aren't public information probably should be. And in addition to that, one of the first candidates that I am going to be using as an example, Big Fry TV, over the years, he has also quite publicly called me out for things that he thought I was doing that were a violation of FTC guidelines. And even though he is not an FTC officer, even though he is not a lawyer, which is fine, still, I respected his opinions. Even though we didn't believe that we were violating any FTC guidelines, we incorporated his feedback and we actually changed how we disclose certain things to better align with what he wanted us to do. So I feel like it should be completely fair for me to turn this lens around when I actually have not just suspicion, but I would say direct evidence that Big Fry TV is engaging in things that I would say are very, very clearly FTC violations. Now, I am aware that he is not happy about this. I have actually brought this to him in private, in which case he just called me incompetent and stupid. And if you want to go look at his Twitter of him completely blasting me on this, feel free to. I have really given up trying to work these things out directly behind the scenes with a lot of these content creators because of a lot of the behavior that I think you're going to witness when I cover it in this video. So keep in mind, I know he's not happy about me talking about this stuff. It's at this point where I really don't care. I don't care what he thinks. Now, our suspicion that Arena Breakout had launched a paid advertising campaign started on April 15th. This was the day that we first started seeing campaign offers going out from Arena Breakout to different creators. Now, ironically, around the exact same time, in fact, the exact same day, I myself had also seen Big Fry TV post a rather cryptic post where he said FPS fans are going to be eating this year, but he didn't say what game he was talking about. Now, that's immediately suspicious to me because why would you say something like that and not announce the game that you're talking about unless you were engaged in some kind of campaign where you're either under a non-disclosure or something else where you weren't allowed to discuss that campaign yet. And you can confirm this if you scroll all the way down, and you can see Big Fry follows up saying, can't say much, but there's good things coming. Now, this is around the same time that our development team saw this and we started talking internally like, this looks suspicious. It looks like he might be on some kind of paid contract, but I guess we'll find out in the next couple of days. And lo and behold, here soon, April 17th, cat's out of the bag, Arena Breakout is coming to PC. Now keep in mind, none of this has disclosure for advertisements at all. None of this includes him explaining that he has been offered a paid deal. Now, it could be possible that perhaps he signed an NDA but he didn't accept a paid contract. That could be possible. And that was something that we talked internally. We were like, man, is he doing a paid contract on this or not? Because he literally just told us that he believed that we were violating FTC guidelines for not disclosing business relationships that we had. I mean, if he's doing the exact same thing, that's maximum hypocrisy. But you know what? We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Innocent until proven guilty. Perhaps he hadn't actually taken a paid contract. But I then realized, why not just ask him? So I asked him, is Arena Breakout sponsoring you? And he told me, yeah, they are. He has a sponsored deal for Friday that should have gone out, and I'm assuming he signed an NDA. And I guess Arena Breakout fumbled, which he was frustrated about, because they released their announcement before giving him the green light for his sponsorship to release his. He was kind of mad about that. But yes, he had already accepted a paid contract at that point with Arena Breakout Infinite. But this gets significantly worse. We're only at the beginning of the roller coaster ride here, so buckle up. Now, keep in mind, as I said before, this is around the same time that massive Escape from Tarkov scandal occurred. I am not a fan of Escape from Tarkov. I don't agree with the things that they've done or what they've said. But Big Fry and myself, actually, at the same time, were both very active on social media condemning the things that Escape from Tarkov was doing. However, the difference between me and Big Fry is throughout this entire exchange of him blasting Escape from Tarkov, he is also promoting Arena Breakout as an alternative. And Arena Breakout themselves are also getting into this attack, creating personal attacks against this other studio that Big Fry is signal boosting, that he is promoting. But throughout the entire process of doing this, even though he is on a sponsorship contract that he has confirmed to me, that I had a suspicion that he was on, that I then confronted him about, that he confirmed to me, and then he is going out doing hit pieces on Escape from Tarkov, which again, don't like Escape from Tarkov, but still, nonetheless, doing hit pieces on Escape from Tarkov, while simultaneously promoting this game that you have told no one you have already accepted a paid contract with. And when you are Big Fry, of all people, you are Big Fry doing this without disclosing it is absolute insanity to me. Now, when I first saw this, I was a little angry. I'm not going to lie, but I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything yet. But I did have to tell other people, because other people came to me and they were like, hey, do you know if he's on contract with Arena Breakout? Because it was becoming obvious. That's the problem, Dustin. It started becoming obvious what you were doing, and people would ask me, and what am I supposed to say? No, I have to say the truth. Yeah, he's on a contract with them. It's at a point where defending you would actually hurt my own reputation, because I have to tell people the truth, or then I'm a liar too. And just as a quick note in here, I actually don't have evidence for this, but I don't need evidence for this because this is really only for the people who were there. And I'm just going to make you guys aware of this. Not particularly long before this entire situation, I was at an event in New York where I had multiple content creators from these agencies confront me and say, hey, we don't like you talking about us. We don't like you criticizing us. We would like it if you stopped doing it. Now, throughout that entire situation, I very much did not want to have those conversations. I was confronted by this, and the people who were actually at those events who saw me get confronted, you could tell I don't agree with the people who say these things. I think content creators should be able to call each other out. I think that should be something that holds us all accountable. I really don't mind when other people call me out. In fact, if anything, in kind of a weird way, I enjoy it. I absolutely do. And I think it's an important part of the free discourse that makes YouTube YouTube. But regardless, the people at this event asked me to not talk about them because they don't like people starting drama. Big Fry was one of those individuals at that event who asked me to not get into drama with people from his agency. I mean, assuming including him. I mean, we weren't having drama with each other at the time, but he did not want me getting into drama with people from his agency. So, while I am watching all of this go down, I am trying very hard to sort this stuff out with him behind the scenes in direct messages, because that's what they asked. That's what they wanted me to do. But the reason I'm making this video now is because after all of these creators, or at least a good chunk of them, asked me to keep quiet about them, a lot of the work that I was doing later, either on the games or the AI stuff that I've been doing, for those of you who know, I do graduate school studying machine learning, but I mean, Big Fry hates AI, and a bunch of other people hate AI, and a lot of the exact same people that asked me to stay quiet about them decided to start blasting me on social media, which was exactly the opposite of what you all said you wanted, right? So from this point on, I just want to make it clear. The reason I'm making this video is because I tried the whole sorting things out in DMs thing, and instead you guys went to the public, as I knew that you always would, and you started blasting me and lying about this stuff. So in many ways, I am now forced to come forward with this because you all are actively lying about these things, and I have to tell people the truth. So anyways, with that note aside, I just wanted to leave that in here for the people who need to hear that. This situation with Arena Breakout and Escape from Tarkov continued escalating, and I was really hoping that Big Fry was going to disclose. He needed to disclose. I mean, especially as the Escape from Tarkov drama started escalating and escalating, and he's getting tweets with thousands and thousands of likes, bashing Escape from Tarkov, signal boosting Arena Breakout, offering Arena Breakout as an alternative to Escape from Tarkov during this controversy, and still not disclosing that he's on a contract with them. That's insanity to me, and I was really hoping that he would disclose. But days and days and days went by, and he wasn't doing it. And it got to a point where he released a video covering Arena Breakout after all of this, after making this entire arc of blasting Escape from Tarkov, promoting Arena Breakout, after admitting to me that he's on contract. Now, he makes a video promoting them. And for me, again, I see this, and I'm not trying to start beef. But I was hoping, especially since, just recently he left a comment on my YouTube channel informing me of something that he thought was out of place. So I left a comment on his YouTube channel. And I said, hey, he's making this video about Arena Breakout. Isn't this company sponsoring you? And publicly, he responded to me. And he said, basically, no, that they hadn't actually gone forward with the deal or something of that nature. And I'm like, man, that's suspicious. I don't really see how that could happen. And after I posted this comment, he got really angry about it on his live stream for a split second. I think before he realized that he was giving himself away, he said something along the lines of, oh, I told you that in confidence. And I want to remind you, Big, you didn't tell me anything in confidence. I asked you because I was suspicious of you, and you told me the truth, and you didn't tell anybody else the truth. I never offered to keep that information secret. And as your behavior has continued to escalate, I have to treat you almost similar to some of the other developers that I have covered in the past that start doing things that are shady. And unfortunately, after watching you do these things, that's how I have to start treating you. So when I asked you for that information, I was not asking in confidence. I was asking because I was suspicious. And I would even go as far to say the only reason you told me the truth wasn't because you wanted to. I think you knew that I knew, and I think you knew that if you lied to me, it would have been worse. So please keep that in mind. But after this exchange where he messages me and he's very angry about this, I start asking him more questions, and I'm like, look, man, you obviously signed some kind of an NDA. You were obviously engaged around like April 15th. Can you show me anything that would vindicate you here? Because this is starting to look really suspicious. And he sent me a screenshot. He sent me a screenshot of his manager confirming this sponsorship on April 15th when I first suspected that he was starting to cover this game because he had received a paid offer. And the craziest thing is when he sent that to me, I think he thought that vindicated him. And I responded, I was like, Big, this says April 15th. This is exactly the time frame that I was confronting you about, that I was suspicious that you had taken a paid deal and not told anybody. And now you're sitting here giving me this, which is evidence that you did. And he got super angry about it. And at that point, I kind of started backing out of the conversation. He started calling me an idiot and incompetent and all this stuff. And I just started agreeing. Like, okay, man, yeah, sure. I just let him say whatever he wants because, at that point, if you're really that far gone, man, if you're really that far gone where you cannot realize what you just did, then, it's over. It's over. You're not the person who I thought you were, or maybe you changed. I don't know. And after that exchange, after I left that comment on his YouTube channel where I was disclosing this to people, he banned my account from commenting on his channel. He deleted that message on his video. You can't find it anymore, which means that he's actively suppressing people that are trying to call him out for this and at least try to keep him honest. And then literally 24 hours later, he posted the sponsored video that he had already created and sent to Arena Breakout, which ironically, the sponsored video that he had Arena Breakout in was also a hit piece on Escape from Tarkov, which is crazy because Arena Breakout would have had to approve that. That's what was hanging everything up, by the way. The reason he had not posted the sponsored segment with Arena Breakout earlier is because with these sponsorship contracts, you have to send them your draft for them to sign off and agree on everything you say. All the influencers that say, oh, but, like, I was going to say the same thing anyways, and, these contracts don't impact my coverage or my bias, whatever, that's all a lie, just so you know. You have to send your draft for this to them for approval. And later on, Big Fry went off on this whole, oh, but we hadn't signed contracts yet. Whatever you had done to the point where you were sending them drafts. You had done to the point where your agent was sitting there confirming to you paid offers from them, and you told no one. Now, is that an FTC violation? Is it not? I'm going to be honest, man. At this point, I'm not the one that makes that determination. If anybody watching this video thinks that this is an FTC violation, there's a link down in the description. Go file a report, because the FTC is the one that makes these determinations. But I swear, Big, if I ever see you in my comment section again, trying this whole holier than thou stuff, after watching you do this, I'm never going to take you seriously, ever again. And, was this legal? Was it not legal? I mean, does it really matter? You're Big Fry. Do you think your audience would appreciate this? And if they do, if this is really where we're at as an industry, and people actually condone this, I'm out. I'm going to make OHD. I'm going to make my AI stuff because it makes me happy. I'm done. So, now that we have covered the Arena Breakout situation, let's cover how this relates to the Delta Force campaign. The exact same agencies that orchestrated a number of the influencers for the Arena Breakout campaign are now on the Delta Force campaign. I have seen the paid offers come through, and suddenly I see the exact same cycle repeating. And a number of these individuals I know are on paid contracts. Some of them are just in the early stages of negotiating their offers and, locking down these deals. But the point is a lot of this coverage that you're seeing is because these influencers know that there's money on the table. Now, I'm aware that a lot of influencers will try to deny this, and will also try to deny that these paid campaign announcements don't affect their coverage. But when they blast me on social media about this, and then I respond by asking them, have you received a paid offer from Delta Force? You'll notice a lot of them just say yes, because they can't lie about it. Yes, they've gotten a paid offer. Now, does that bias their coverage or not? Is that an FTC violation or not? I will say, in the case of Big Fry and Arena Breakout, if it is the exact same thing that is going on for the Arena Breakout campaign, I would say, yeah, pretty likely. I would go as far to say, depending on how you're handling that, it absolutely could be an FTC violation. Absolutely. The FTC is still the one that makes that determination. So after enough people file a report against you and then they send you a subpoena or whatever else they need to do in order to conduct their investigation, I guess we'll find out for real. But from where I'm sitting, if you're doing the exact same thing that you did for Arena Breakout again, yeah, possibly. It definitely could. And for those of you who are on social media that are going to say, oh man, Blue Drake, you shouldn't be calling out content creators. Man, you guys seem to have no problem calling me out for all sorts of stuff. Even after we sit down and we have these long discussions about how it's unprofessional or whatever at these paid events that we mutually go to, where you confront me about this stuff and you try to convince me to, I guess, shut up. Even after all of that, a good chunk of you still go after me regularly about all sorts of stuff. So there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to bring this up, especially when it doesn't just affect me, but affects everyone who is watching you. As well as, I would also say, indie game development studios that are not aware that they need to pay you in order for you to cover their game. Because I'm going to say right now, it's not just other content creators or your audience that's getting annoyed. There are other indie game development studios. I mean, look at Escape from Tarkov. Do you think Battlestate is going to be happy to learn that the entire time that Big Fry was blasting them on social media and helping Arena Breakout do personal attacks against them and their staff, that he was on a contract for a sponsorship the entire time, you don't think they're going to be concerned about that? I bet they will, and they're not going to be the only ones. Now, the arena breakout situation is the most egregious. There is a lot more than this. But this video is approaching 30 minutes now, and I don't want people to complain, oh man, it's just large video, oh my gosh. Deal with it. But I don't want to make this video 45 minutes to an hour. So I'm just going to say this. There is a lot more to this. And there are a larger number of people doing the exact same thing, many of which are on the exact same teams that Big Fry is on. Whenever you see a video that he does and he's with a whole sponsored squad and, oh, we're having so much fun. Yeah, they also do stuff like this. And for this video, I'm going to focus primarily on Big Fry and the handful of other creators who I think are also egregious examples that I've shown as screenshots here. But as time goes on, and especially now that I know that apparently calling me out is okay, even though in New York you guys told me that starting beef with other people is not a good thing, but I guess that doesn't apply to me for some reason. But now that I know how you guys operate, as time goes on, if you do not course correct, if you do not stop doing these things, I am going to start covering what you all do as well. And I would like to remind everybody, if you see this kind of stuff, report it to the FTC. Links down below. Go report them. So look, to wrap this up, while I could go into this for forever, I just want to lay this out in a very simple way. So that way when Big Fry does his live stream reaction or bashes me or whatever, that we can have this be as clean cut as possible so you can't mental gymnastics your way out of this. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and they're just yes/no questions. Yes or no, on April 15th, when you started promoting Arena Breakout, had your agent accepted and sent you a paid offer from Arena Breakout? Second question, yes or no, at any time leading up to you finally releasing the sponsorship video, did you disclose anywhere publicly in your posts promoting Arena Breakout, in your video covering the Arena Breakout announcement, or in any of the posts that you made attacking Escape from Tarkov and suggesting Arena Breakout as an alternative to Escape from Tarkov, in any of those posts publicly, did you disclose that Arena Breakout had offered you a paid contract? Question 3. When I left my comment on your video about Arena Breakout, where you had already been engaged in a sponsorship that you were still not disclosing after all of this time, did you delete that comment and hide it from everyone being able to see it and ban me from commenting on your videos? Did you suppress me from informing other people of your business relationship with Arena Breakout? Yes or no? Question 4, because I know you're going to try this one. When you banned my comment, had you already reached a point in your contract with Arena Breakout where you had sent them a fully completed draft of the advertisement that you had been paid to create for them? It was already in their hands, awaiting their approval. So if you try to say, oh, I wasn't in contract, you were in contract enough to do that. So yes or no to that? And I'll remind you, you posted your actual sponsorship with them the day after banning my comment. So don't you try this whole, oh, but it was in limbo. No, you had already done it, and you were waiting for them to give you the green light to post it. Don't you even try. Question 5, because I know you love telling people, oh, why is he being so mean to me and calling me out for FTC compliance related issues? Prior to me making this video, a couple months prior to this, did you leave comments on my channel publicly calling me out for FTC compliance, which I welcomed and integrated all of your changes and did not cause any issues for you, right? Did that happen publicly? If so, you'd think that if you are capable of criticizing me and I'm capable of taking it and incorporating your feedback, you'd think that you'd be capable of doing the exact same thing. So yes or no, did you make those posts on my channel? Final question. Are you a Federal Trade Commission's officer? Are you an attorney or lawyer with any expertise at all in marketing compliance? Are you a mental health professional that has the ability to diagnose people with mental illnesses? If you are none of those things, then explain to me why the hell you're on my channel giving me FTC advice. Explain to me why you are leaping to accusations of mental illness and accusing me of gaslighting everybody. I gotta say, I don't know when gaslighting became your favorite word of the day, but for you to accuse anybody else of gaslighting after all of the crap you have pulled is laughable. And assuming the answer was no to all of those things, then all I have to say is this. Big, if you ever have any problem with me from an FTC compliance standpoint, report me to the Federal Trade Commission. Got the link right down there in the description. I would rather deal with a federal officer than deal with whatever you are now. I have lawyers. I have a registered company. If there is any problem, I am happy to comply or pay any penalties related to anything that I have done. I do my best to abide by FTC guidelines, and when anybody gives me advice or feedback about FTC compliance, I take it seriously, unlike you for some reason. But if you are truly this incapable of having an adult conversation about these things, which I have tried with you multiple times, in private and in public, then honestly, I would rather deal with the FTC. I don't respect your opinion on any of these things. I don't think you know what the hell you're talking about. And I'm sure you're going to say, oh, but I do. I don't care if you think you do. I don't want to hear from you about this anymore, especially if you're going to be doing these things which are insanely hypocritical after you go so far out of your way to criticize other people for the exact same stuff that you know that you also do. If you ever have a problem with me again, report me to the FTC. I would rather deal with them. And to wrap this up, because again, we're coming close to the 40-minute mark, I just want to allude to some more things that I could talk about. I've already talked about how there's a lot of other people who have done similar stuff to this that I could talk about. I've talked about how this is really just the tip of the iceberg, and I'll talk about a few other things that I've noticed you do, Big Fry. On your channel, none of your sponsored videos are tagged as paid promotion using YouTube's disclosure system. You got the little hashtag ad thing, but that's not enough. And let me explain to you why, since you apparently don't understand. When you use the YouTube ad disclosure, it actually places paid product placement in places that little hashtag ad cannot show up, such as discovery, browse, and other places where you can't see the description. It allows you to go through someone's videos and actually see which videos are paid promotion, as people should have the ability to do. The fact that you have neglected to tag every single one of your sponsored videos, I mean, I checked the other day, unless I missed one, for 2 years is a level of negligence that I am truly suspicious if you are doing that intentionally. And I will explain why I think you may be doing this intentionally. This is one of your fans recently. He left a comment on your channel saying that he doesn't like it when you do sponsored videos. You know what's funny? I noticed that your fans are scared of you. So he even went as far to say, hey, good on you for getting the sponsorship, but I don't like sponsorships, and I don't think people who accept paid sponsorships should be able to have unbiased opinions on games. I agree with this dude. I think that makes sense. If he left that comment on my channel, I'd be like, man, you know, you do you. That's totally fine. But this individual who left what I think is a very polite comment, you want to know what your response to this guy was? Fuck yourself. That was your response. And then you posted him on social media in your typical maneuver where you want all of your fans, I guess, to dogpile on this guy and harass him over a comment that I would say relatively is pretty innocuous. I mean, compared to you, this guy is pretty polite. But here's the kicker. There's one part of this comment that you'll notice that he actually adds Big Fry to a sponsor block extension for Chrome. You can get an extension for Chrome, and for all videos that are tagged with YouTube's paid product placement system that shows up in discovery, it'll hide sponsored videos. Pretty nice, just like ad block. And you know, with everybody using ad block, sponsors are trying to get into influencers more, so people are creating extensions to block those too. But you know, one way to make sure that those extensions don't work on your videos? It's to make sure you don't disclose using the YouTube disclosure system. And I'm extremely suspicious, especially after watching a lot of these influencers straight up lie to me about almost everything else. Are you intentionally not disclosing that because you're mad that people are using these extensions to block your paid sponsorship content? Because I'll say myself, recently, when I watch your videos, I am starting to just assume that you were on payroll when I click a video because I can't see the paid product indicator in my feed whenever one of yours pops up. I click it and I'm like, yep, this is an ad. I wouldn't have to do that if you actually properly disclosed. And the fact that you're not only not disclosing in the way that you should be, but you're sitting here saying get fucked to your fans that are complaining about it and want to be able to have this ability. Dude, never even talk to me again about this stuff. Ever. So we're at the 40-minute mark. I'm sure people who have attention deficit disorder are going to complain about this being too long, but I mean, this video is going to affect your life. It's going to affect your career. So you sure as hell better watch the entire damn thing if you are involved with this. For everybody else who is associated with Big Fry and associated with these campaigns who are doing these things that I think, if the FTC were to investigate, would not end well for you, I will say this. I am going to give you guys a head start, and you can spend some time getting your stuff together, okay? I was not going to say anything at all, but recently you guys have felt like you have the option to go after me for all sorts of other stuff that I actually still think is very much in the green. For instance, a lot of people hate my AI work. I'll tell you this, all the AI stuff I'm doing is above board. If I'm using AI to clone my voice, it's my voice. I can do with it what I want. If I'm using AI to write code or do anything else, I am training that AI on other code that's either open source or MIT licensed. It is my intention to do everything related to AI above board because I believe in the technology and I actually think it can be used legally. So if you want to go after me for that stuff, oh my God, feel free. But I swear, if you all start doing this, you are going to open up, all of you, for me to come after you for things that I know are way worse than anything you could have to say about me. So do it. Ratio me. Blast me. I can't wait to spend the rest of my life holding you all accountable. And you're going to be so mad, man. And you're going to have so many of your fans coming after me. Dude, let's go. But I will say this. I'll end this with just a couple of callouts. Redbeard Mortis, you're a YouTuber. Recently, we just had this situation where I had your back because you got sued by those crazy Italian people for a DMCA claim that was fraudulent. When you made your video ripping into my game Operation Harsh Doorstop, how did I treat you? Did I explode? Did I say you had mental health disorders? Did I go after you in the ways that you all have been trying to go after me? Did I? No, I didn't. Sid Alpha, you agree with this? Is this mentality acceptable? Do you think this is what we should be projecting as people that our audiences look up to? Yes or no? I would love the answer. And I'll tell you, I'm happy with any of those answers because if you all decide that this is okay, if you all decide that this is acceptable, industry is dead. And honestly, I think I would be at peace with that. And I'm ready. I've thought about this a lot because I know I have people hit me up and they're like, man, everyone's going to hate you. Great. I'm down. If you all are going to do this, I don't really like you guys. I think you guys know this by now. I don't really like you all. The things that you do, the stuff that you say, we don't see eye to eye. We don't have similar perspectives. So let's just call it like it is, right? Let's stop pretending that we're the same. Let's stop pretending that we're on the same page. I am on the other side of the fence from you. But regardless, even though I'm on the other side of the fence, I do think that you guys should comply with all of the things that you try to call other people out for, at the bare minimum. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, whatever the next one may be about. Cheers.